I'm going to try something a little different today and talk about this movie Obsession. I'll give a brief rundown of the movie. A guy named Bear wishes on a magic tree wishing branch for this girl who he's been friends with for a long time to love him, and he got a lot more than what he bargained for. Before I get into it, let me just say it's a great movie and worth a watch, and should be on a streaming service soon, as I'm sure no one expected to be as popular as it was, but I'll have some minor and vague spoilers, so you've been warned. But what I've been seeing is a lot of people missing the point on what's going on with Bear. A lot of people are just casting him in the villain role when I really think he isn't one. His wish came from desperation and weakness, and some of the breadcrumb clues in the movie kind of leads me to believe that he's been in love with her for a very long time, even practicing what he's going to say to her with his friends in the opening. And after he finds out she's quitting the job they all share and potentially leaving the town, he then later gets a golden opportunity to let it all out but he chickens out at the very last moment, and then made that wish, which then proceeds with all the craziness of the movie. Now, without really spoiling, it did look like she loved him at that point, even having a little montage to it, but after some of the weird stuff started happening, like taping his door shut and feeding him his I'll leave that a surprise, and then that phone conversation, and then especially after the sleep bed talking scene, it became fairly obvious it wasn't her, and Barry even acknowledges that by asking her directly, what's so bad being with me when she had control? And that's where I think people are too quick to throw him in the villain role. Yes, what he is doing is bad, especially after he knew it wasn't her, and something was controlling her. But you can do bad things without necessarily being bad. His wish and the rest of the way he acts in the movie comes from desperation and weakness. He's been in love with her probably since like high school and always been that beta orbiter, waiting for his chance one day, and now he's finally getting it. And he's just going to ignore everything no matter how crazy she acts, or even when she's begging for help. Again, not excusing it, but explaining why his character is doing the stuff he does. He's not bad, he's weak and desperate, and in that leads him to doing and ignoring bad things, and that is what I think the movie's about. What weakness and desperation does to a person, and that they'll tolerate and excuse what they see or do, and how it drags people down with them. You can see that by how passive he's being with her blow-ups, and him just waiting for it to pass, and just trying to ignore whatever is going on. My point being here is I don't think Bear is bad or the villain. He is just a weak and desperate person that ruined someone else's life in a pretend relationship he wished for, instead of just manning up to begin with, or when it became very apparent it wasn't her. When you strip away all those theatrics, that's what I think the movie is about. The depths of desperation and weakness a person can go to when they want something so bad. They'll throw up the blinders or excuses to justify rather than just come to terms with it. Even his fixes in the movie weren't really fixes, they were just ways for him to have his cake and eat it too. And only after it finally blew up to something unfixable and unignorable, he was finally then willing to do something. But even then, he still kind of chickened out, and it was kind of forced on him. But anyways, I see a lot of takes from people trying to push this incel fantasy story because the main guy is very timid, quiet, weak, and not the best looking guy. But I don't think it's none of that. It's a story about desperation and weakness, and what happens when you choose to live in that, rather than trying to be strong and confident yourself. And it's probably why women love this movie so much, because it's quite literally their horror movie, being forcibly saddled with a beta, and there's nothing they can do about it.